this month on Inquisitive, Your Miracle Resource, the podcast. No more unproductive, boring, and awkward meetings. Katherine and Sarah discuss 5 steps to make your meetings miraculous. Well, welcome back to Inquisitive, Your Miracle Resource. I'm your co-host, Sarah, and I'm here with Katherine Miracle today. So this month we're going to talk about meetings and no more unproductive, boring, and awkward meetings, right, Katherine?
Oh my gosh. The response on this was crazy, Sarah. Like as soon as I posted, I got a ton of DMs. And the big thing is so many people said, why are these meetings happening when they're a waste of time? And I just love our steps for the month of May because it doesn't have to be that way. So if it's okay, I just want to jump into step 1.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that we should always say, can this be done in an email? Do we need a meeting? Whoever is scheduling it, even if you have a consistent weekly meeting, if you have a consistent weekly meeting and you have to meet once a week, get other people involved in planning and talking and maybe talking about concerns that are happening, or give people some problems that are happening and let them create a solution in a meeting. But, step 1 basically says, before you schedule a meeting, determine, could this be handled by email? And that was the first thing that I got. Somebody wrote in and said, I want to get to work. This meeting's not productive. So when we say, can we handle this via email? That's step 1. And that's an important step.
Absolutely. I've known a lot of people that said, why did I have to get ready for this big meeting when it could have just been an email, which is perfect.
So true.
All right. So that kind of rolls into step 2. So if you decide that it can't be an email and you want to handle it in a meeting, you can set pre-work. And I think that's just like a great idea. So you can do answers anonymously throughout. And when anonymous answers are compiled, you can see across the board what you need to do for improvement. I think I love that idea that you could get pre-feedback almost before you even start, because then you can know what you're diagnosing in the meeting.
And Sarah, I love how you said that, because step 2 really is letting people anonymously, and that's the key, talk about the things that they're concerned about. And when we do that, we can take the temperature of, okay, if we have 6 out of 8 people saying this is a problem, we need to address it. And even if we have 1 out of 8 people say it's a problem, it's still on our radar. And the part about step 2 I like so much is the meeting time will be used to create solutions. People are more engaged when we ask them to be involved. So here's a great example. I teach some career development classes and part of personal branding. And people will say, hey, Katherine, can you carry my resume? Will you take my resume? Will you send my resume to people? And I want to be asked this question, and that is, can you read through my resume? Tell me what you think. Because again, before I endorse you, I want to see that resume is well written. There's no typos, that kind of thing. And so when I wrote all of the books I've written, I have like 27 to 30 people that I'll say, can you read it and tell me what you think? Does it flow well? How does it sound? Then they know the book. Now, I didn't intentionally do this the first book signing, but those 27 people all came to the book signing and brought people. They were engaged. They felt a part of. They were part of the solution. And that's what meetings should be, creating a solution, getting people involved, not saying, hey, this is what you have to do, but getting engaged with, this is a problem. Let's anonymously submit some answers and some solutions. Let's take all that feedback and come back and together create the solution. And the key here is anonymous. That's really important. So Sarah, thanks for letting me chime in on that one, because I just feel like when we ask someone, hey, can I get your advice? That's a lot different than saying, hey, can you carry my resume and give it to 16 people? People want to be involved in a solution. They really do.
Absolutely. I do love the emphasis on being anonymous. It kind of helps avoid, it's like that dreaded awkward cricket at the end of a meeting where no one's asking the question because they do not want to be held responsible if it goes south of a question. So I love that it just keep it anonymous, and you'll find that as long as we're providing solutions for those issues, more people will gain confidence by going anonymous, because a lot of people don't like the spotlight on them.
And that's true, Sarah. Thanks for bringing that out. And then the other point is someone who talks a lot in meetings or has a lot of ideas or has a lot to share. That would be me.
Mhm.
Sometimes I will hold back because I'll think, well, last meeting I kind of talked a lot. And when you do it anonymously, the story is that, people can feel comfortable communicating. Also, it's not, well, this person said this and I don't like Frank and he gave this suggestion. It is anonymous. So people who have a lot of ideas feel comfortable, and people who have a few ideas and don't talk as often may be more active in that anonymous survey. So thank you. I love step 2. It's a good one.
All right, so on to step 3. When a team member shares an idea or a suggestion, stay true to your team charter to ensure team works to brainstorm instead of being negative about new ideas, which kind of goes into what you were saying, Katherine.
So true. Now, team charters, because, and we do these for our clients, we together in a team create a vision and actions and behaviors that we believe are going to move the team forward. We set deadlines. We also set consequences. So when we go back to our team charter, and remember that in our first meeting together, and I do this in all the classes I teach and all of the trainings, we set up a team charter that we all agreed on. Let's go back and review it. Because if someone comes up with an idea and they're shot down right away, they're not coming back with another idea. They're going to say, okay, this is a company where I just should keep my mouth shut and not say anything. And I have participated in those discussions before and, thought, why should I recommend an idea if I just get shut down? And in one of our podcasts, Sarah, that was a big response. People said that they felt like they were corrected when they had an idea. And that's not brainstorming. Brainstorming is just letting the ideas flow. And sometimes one idea leads to another idea. So we have to review the team charter and say, before we jump into a meeting, let's agree to what we said in that team charter of how behavior works and how respect works. Because if we really have a meeting, it's because we want to hear from everybody, or else we would just do an individual meeting, right?
Sure. Absolutely. I really like that idea of encouraging the open-mindedness and trying to make sure that you're being respectful of someone, even if you don't like the new idea. Who's to say that, like what you were saying, you can ping pong off of other people and get a solution.
That's so true. And, that leads us into step 4. And I want to spend time here because this interactive engagement to open the meeting. There's a meeting that I attend for a client, and I am not, again, a full-time employee. I'm their consultant as a Miracle Resources representative. And they have music when they open and everybody has fun and it's, hey, how you doing? And it's just a great vibe. It's really interactive. But I've taken it to the level where now we do an opening question and people write in and they chat and it's really fun. So there's got to be some kind of interactive engagement. And even if you as a leader want to get people moving on a project, try to ask an inquisitive question. Something like, and when I teach like career classes, I'll say, what's your perfect work day? Are you getting up in the morning, working out and then going to work? Are you somebody who you get up really early, you like to be in the office before everybody else gets stuff done, then you work out at night? Are you somebody who wants to travel a lot? Be specific on your perfect work day. And everybody really talks about what they want. So it's interactive because the engagement of what is the perfect workplace? If we could make our workplace better, what would we do? And that's not something to fear. So for those of you planning meetings, get people in an interactive question that they can chat. And again, to have engagement. The other part is it says, ask each team member to plan an idea and select one for each meeting. So meeting planners, don't feel like you have to plan everything. You can say to the team, okay, in the month of May, so-and-so, would you do the opening? Would you create our opening interactive session and get everyone to volunteer? Meetings are not just, hi, this is Katherine's meeting. Meetings are, this is our team meeting. So we each take a responsibility for a piece. And some people love to do the close. Some people love to do the open. Some people love to plan the activities. Some people love to play the music. That's fine. It just makes it so much more engaging. So I share love for. I think that's a great step.
I like the idea of delegating specific parts of a meeting to other team members because everyone gets a little bit more involved and it's almost like when you had that, like a big cookout and it's really overwhelming, or that potluck and somebody goes, I love making desserts. So then you give those persons.
Exactly.
I love that idea. I think that's such a good, like, I don't know. It's something that you just don't think of right away. But then right when it like comes out, you're like, well, why didn't I ask that person? If they do love to open up the meeting, let's give them that role. And that could entice other people to want to participate if you see that it was built from a team for a team.
And Sarah, you said it best, because potlucks are the best, because you know you're going to get surprise stuff and people make cool things, and your food is always better when it's a potluck, because everybody's bringing something, and you have favorites. This person makes this real well. I make a killer lasagna, by the way. I'm Italian. My college friend gave me an incredible recipe, and people are like, Katherine, can you bring lasagna? My lasagna is really good. And so it's kind of fun because everybody gets involved. And I do think, Sarah, for a lot of our corporations, they've asked me, can you find a quote to end the meeting? Quotes are awesome, and it really helps people think. And getting to know each other on a different level than just work really makes us stronger as a team. We get to know each other better, and that's awesome. So I'll let you take step 5, because I love these steps, because it just makes your life easier when you're planning a meeting.
Absolutely. So step 5 is getting people engaged in a conversation with an inquisitive question, and they want to know more about inquisitive questions. You can ask Katherine. But it's the best way to get your meetings involved and engaged. You can use all these tips to create a great staff that helps showcase the best possible meetings. But starting with an inquisitive question could really set your meeting and get it more into an open mindset, I think. And it really makes people sit back and think. And as long as you're enticing a welcome and respectful meeting, then you will get those results from those questions.
And Sarah, I want to add that one of our clients asked me about inquisitive questions. And of course, I'm always there to help people. And my email is listed in our article this month, but you can just reach out to me through Miracle Resources. Sarah and I love inquisitive questions. And let's be honest, sometimes in meetings, we have to address problems. So we had a CEO who was having everybody come to meetings, and they were always late. And it was shocking to the CEO that, again, your company's paying you. Why are you late? And I always teach people, separate the person from the problem. So the question is, instead of why are you late, an inquisitive question would be, what is preventing you from making it to work on time? Well, here's the interesting thing. They found out that when people were coming into the factory, that there was a stop. Like the first couple of weeks, there was a stop checkpoint, and there was some things they had to do, and the safety thing. Well, the CEO didn't know that. And this continued on for about 4 meetings, and people were running late because they thought, oh, well, we did that last week. Well, they were still stopping everybody and doing this check. So once the person and the problem were separated and the question was asked, what is preventing you from making it to the meeting on time? Then it is not invasive, it's inquisitive, because I'm saying I want to listen, I want to learn, I want to observe what is separate, what is the problem that's making you miss the meeting. It's not you, it's not your fault, it's what is the problem. And people are saying, oh, well, there's a checkpoint, it's been there for like 3 weeks. Well, the CEO got there and they didn't check him, but they did that for everybody else. So this is why we have to ask an inquisitive question. And people say, is it inquisitive to ask the question, well, how can I help? Well, sometimes you can't help. And sometimes it's better to say that, again, the problem is separate from the person. So that's a big one. Inquisitive questions address without being annoying, without being agitating, and without starting conflict, but they get to the core of the real problem. So thanks for letting me share that one, Sarah.
Yeah, and I think inquisitive questions, I've noticed, help people become less defensive with their answers. It separates them, how you said, separates them from the problem. It drops that curtain of them feeling like you pinned them in a corner, because then you're just creating a negative environment if you do it that way.
And Sarah, you said that best, because when someone feels defensive, they're not going to open up to you. And to get to the core of the real problem also takes what we put in our article in our MailChimp this month, and that is meeting analysis. Analyze the meeting. On Zoom, we can see everyone. We can record it. We can watch and look at body language. We also know in Zoom, like right now, I'm looking directly at the camera to look at the audience. Now I'm looking at you. So we know that a lot of people look directly in the camera so that way they can, engage with the audience. But when we're in a meeting and someone has their camera off, or they always have their camera off, and there is a rule to turn on the camera, instead of saying, well, why don't you turn the camera? Say, what is preventing you from turning on your camera? And the person might say, I'm not really comfortable showing my home. Okay, well, then let's get you a filter. Like Sarah and I both have filters that we use. At the end of the day, meeting analysis helps us understand body language. It helps us understand who is influential, because the way the meeting conversation goes, it's the person that people will refer to. People are often looking for support. So in a meeting, if everybody's like, well, what does Sarah think? What does Sarah think? Well, we know pretty quickly Sarah carries a big amount of influence, because people want to know, what does Sarah think? So having someone else analyze your meeting, and we love doing this at Miracle Resources, we can see things you can't. I always say it's like getting your hair cut. If you come to our meeting at Miracle Resources, you're going to see things that I can't. I'm too close to it. It's just like cutting your own hair. So our meeting analysis is not just for May. You can call Miracle Resources at any time and we will analyze your meeting. We can watch it. We can record it. It's important we're not in the room, because when we're in the room, it can make people feel like, who are these people? So telling everybody, hey, we're going to record the meeting, and analyzing the meeting for effectiveness. That matters very much. So thanks for letting me throw that one in, Sarah. That's really important. Meeting analysis. And your meeting will be marvelous and miraculous.
Absolutely. And from someone who has to edit the podcast, or who, I never complain, but from someone who edits the podcast, I can tell you right now that by going back, I can read my own body language. So as odd as it sounds to record a meeting, when you go back and review it, you will see yourself in like a different light, more so of things that can help you become more aware when you're presenting in the future, that can just help you and your team.
Miracle Resources, we always help you. And in the book, Inquisitive Culture, we talk about not overreading body language. We know that when it comes to body language, sometimes people are uncomfortable, and you may say, well, where they were pulling their ear a lot, which is a sign of being nervous. But oftentimes, if we overread it, it's like overthinking. So it's just when it is exaggerated. The other thing that I love about our meeting analysis product is micro expressions. And I've learned to read them. And how I want to explain it to all of you, especially when you're in meetings, because, most of the time you're conducting a meeting, you have things to look at and papers and stuff. But when you learn microaggressions or micro expressions, you can see what are triggers for people. You can see where they may be upset. You can see when people are concerned. And it is really helpful, because when someone, again, you're a leader and you're managing a team, when you're in tune with them, then you can be far more helpful and get them the resources they need to do their job. It's interesting because, as we've been doing this, we've been able to help so many teams, and Miracle Resources is always here to help all of you. So reach out to Sarah or I. Sarah's at so@miracleresources.com. I'm at km@miracleresources.com. And at any time, we would love to work with you.
Absolutely. We're always here to help. We're always here to assist and help you make your meetings more miraculous.
Happy May, everyone. Miraculous meetings.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in. Katherine, do you have anything additional?
No, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, because as summer approaches, I do a lot more success coaching. And doing a lot of personal branding coaching, and Sarah made a incredible display kind of ad for my personal branding coaching. Really excited about that. And then Sarah and I always, with the Brand Plus Team Equals Revenue National Training Program, we are really excited to come to your company, or one of our trainers can come, or if you're more comfortable with Zoom or Teams, we can do it that way as well. So we're always here to help you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you here next month.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey everybody, it's Sarah from the podcast. If you'd like to submit your stories, you can send them to km@miracleresources.com. That's Katherine's email. Or my email is so@miracleresources.com. Everybody stays anonymous in the stories. We'd love to be able to provide some solutions for you, and we will see you back here next month.